Retirement was supposed to mean peace, but one day she had to act not as an ordinary American woman, but as a true hero. Major Rebecca "Becca" Thompson stood in the rain outside the VA hospital in Portland, Oregon, watching her hands shake. Not from the cold, from the memories that wouldn't stop flooding back. The doctor had just confirmed what she already knew. PTSD, severe, probably permanent. The kind that ended careers and destroyed lives. 18 years in the Army, 4 combat deployments, countless missions that existed only in classified files. And now she was just another broken veteran, standing in the rain, trying to remember how to be human again. Her phone buzzed. She almost didn't answer. These days, it was usually just spam or well-meaning friends she couldn't face. But the number was military, Fort Lewis prefix. "N. Thompson," she answered. "Old habits dying hard. Major Thompson? This is Sergeant First Class David Kim. I served under you in Afghanistan, 2nd Battalion 2019. The name clicked. Young kid, smart, good with electronics. Kim. How are you, Sergeant? Ma'am, I need to see you. It's about the battalion. About what happened at Firebase Viper. Becca's blood chilled. Firebase Viper. The mission nobody talked about. The night they lost 12 soldiers to what command called a tragic friendly fire incident. That's classified, Sergeant. Ma'am, please, they're dying. Everyone who was there. Car accidents, suicides, overdoses. Except they're not accidents. Someone's killing us. Kim in? I have proof. Meet me, please. Tomorrow, noon, Pioneer Courthouse Square. I'll explain everything. The line went dead. Becca stood in the rain for another 10 minutes, processing. Firebase Viper had been 3 years ago, 12 dead, in what the official report called a miscommunication between air support and ground forces. She'd never believed it. The coordinates had been perfect, the communication clear. But the investigation was closed, sealed, buried. Now Kim was saying the survivors were being hunted. Paranoid delusion? Maybe. But 7 soldiers from that night had died in the last year. She'd attended 3 funerals herself, each death seemingly unconnected. She drove home to her apartment in Beaverton, mind racing. If Kim was right, if someone was eliminating witnesses to Firebase Viper, then she was a target too. The commanding officer, who'd asked too many questions, pushed too hard for answers before being medically discharged for stress-related issues. Becca went to her closet, pushed aside civilian clothes to reach the locked case in back. Inside, her service weapon, legally owned, body armor she'd bought with her own money, and a flash drive containing her personal notes from Firebase Viper, notes that contradicted the official story. She spent the night preparing. Cleaned her weapon, charged backup batteries for her phone, plotted multiple routes to and from the meeting site. By dawn, she was ready for anything. And then, except for what actually happened. Pioneer Courthouse Square was crowded with lunch-hour foot traffic. Becca arrived early, found a position with good sight lines and multiple exit routes. She watched Kim approach from the south, nervous but trying to hide it. He was in civilian clothes but moved like a soldier, checking angles, noting threats. "Ma'am," he said, sitting beside her on the bench. "Thank you for coming." "Talk fast, Kim. What's this about?" Kim pulled out a tablet, shielded it from passers-by. "I've been tracking our unit. Everyone from Firebase Viper. Look at this." The screen showed a spreadsheet. Names, dates, locations, causes of death. The pattern was clear once you looked for it. Too many deaths, too close together, too convenient. NN Sergeant Martinez, car accident in Texas. Specialist Johnson, overdose in Chicago. Lieutenant Patterson, hiking accident in Colorado. All within 14 months. Could be coincidence. Combat veterans have high mortality rates. That's what I thought. Until this. Kim swiped to a new screen. Security footage. Grainy, but clear enough. And this is Martinez's accident. Watch the other car. And Becca watched. A sedan accelerated through a red light, T-boned Martinez's truck, then backed up and drove away. The driver never got out, never checked on Martinez. Hit and run. Professional hit. I enhanced the footage. The car had reinforced bumpers, the windows were tinted beyond legal limits, and look here, he zoomed in, the license plate. It's from a batch reported stolen from a federal motor pool 6 months ago. Becca's instincts screamed danger. This was real. Why Firebase Viper? What are they covering up? That's what I've been trying to figure out. Ma'am, what really happened that night? Before Becca could answer, Kim's head snapped back. Red mist, the crack of a rifle. He slumped forward, tablet clattering to the ground. "Nan! Sniper!" Becca yelled, diving for cover as screams erupted around them. Another shot sparked off the concrete where she'd been sitting. She grabbed Kim's tablet and ran, zigzagging through panicked crowds, and Becca made it 3 blocks before the adrenaline crash hit. She ducked into a coffee shop, hands shaking as she called 911 from a burner phone. Reported the shooting but didn't stay to talk to police. Whoever had killed Kim would be watching for her. She found her car, drove aimlessly for an hour to ensure she wasn't followed, then holed up in a motel outside the city. Only then did she examine Kim's tablet. The device was password protected, but Kim had been smart. He'd taped the password inside the case. And Becca accessed his files and felt her world tilt, and Firebase Viper hadn't been friendly fire. According to Kim's research, the 12 soldiers had discovered a cache of weapons meant for Afghan allies but diverted for black market sale. They'd reported it up the chain of command. 6 hours later, they were dead, killed by a drone strike using their exact coordinates. But there was more. Financial records showing millions in diverted funds. Communications between unknown parties discussing, quote, cleaning up loose ends. And a list of names. Every survivor from Firebase Viper, with red X's through the ones already dead. And Becca's name was near the bottom, unmarked, but probably not for long. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Major Thompson. You've inherited something that doesn't belong to you. The voice was cultured, calm, terrifying in its certainty. Who is this? Someone who spent 3 years protecting national security from inconvenient truths. Sergeant Kim was warned to drop his investigation. He didn't listen. Neither did the others. You murdered them. American soldiers. I eliminated threats to ongoing operations. The weapons interdiction program at Firebase Viper was classified beyond your clearance level. Those 12 soldiers jeopardized years of careful planning with their Boy Scout morality. They were doing their duty. Their duty was to follow orders, not investigate. Just as your duty now is to hand over that tablet and forget this conversation. Do that, and you can return to your quiet retirement. Refuse, and you'll kill me like you killed Kim? Oh no, Major. Death would be merciful. Refuse, and everyone you care about suffers. Your sister in Seattle, Jennifer, isn't it? Single mother, 2 kids. Your father in the memory care facility. Your girlfriend, Dr. Patricia Reeves. Also vulnerable. Becca's rage turned cold. They'd researched her, mapped her entire life. If you touch them, then cooperate. You have 24 hours to decide. We'll be in touch. Becca sat in the motel room, processing. They knew about Patricia, a relationship she'd kept private that wasn't on any social media or official records, which meant surveillance, long-term and invasive. She opened Kim's files again, digging deeper. The weapons program he'd uncovered was massive. Hundreds of millions in military hardware diverted to unknown buyers. The drone strike on Firebase Viper had eliminated the soldiers who'd discovered one shipment, but the program had continued. A subfolder caught her eye. Insurance. Inside, encrypted files Kim hadn't been able to crack. But there was a note. If something happens to me, contact Captain Marcus Webb, 75th Rangers. He has the key. Becca knew him. Solid officer. Served with distinction in Iraq and Syria. Currently stationed at Joint Base Lewis McChord, just south of Seattle. If Kim trusted him, he might be her only ally. But first, she needed to protect her family. Becca made calls, careful to sound normal. Convinced Jennifer to take the kids to visit friends in Canada. Arranged for her father to be transferred to a different facility for specialized treatment. Patricia was harder. She couldn't explain without endangering her. I need you to trust me, Becca said over the phone. Take a vacation. Leave tonight. Go somewhere you've never mentioned to me. Don't tell anyone where. Becca, what's going on? You sound... Please, just for a week. I'll explain everything when it's safe. Patricia, bless her, didn't argue further. Okay, but Becca? Whatever this is, don't try to handle it alone. I won't, Becca lied. By nightfall, her loved ones were as safe as she could make them. Now it was time to go on offense. N Joint Base Lewis McChord was a 90-minute drive from Portland. Becca arrived at 0600 using her retired military ID to access the base. Security was tight, but not for someone who knew the procedures. Captain Webb was leading PT when she found him. She waited until his company dispersed, then approached. And Captain Webb? Major Rebecca Thompson, retired. We need to talk about David Kim. Webb's expression hardened. Inside. Now. His office was small, functional, swept for bugs daily, he assured her. Becca showed him Kim's tablet, watched his face pale as he reviewed the files. Nin. Jesus Christ! They killed them all? You knew? I suspected. Kim came to me 2 months ago, asked theoretical questions about weapons diversions. I told him to be careful, that asking the wrong questions could end a career. I didn't think, he rubbed his face, I didn't think they'd kill him. He left encrypted files, said you had the key. Webb nodded slowly, went to his desk safe. Retrieved a thumb drive. Kim was paranoid about digital security. The encryption key is air-gapped, never been online. They decrypted the files and found gold. Or perhaps uranium, given how explosive it was. NN video recordings. Kim had been wearing hidden cameras during meetings, gathering evidence for months. N. The recordings showed military contractors, intelligence officials, even a congressman discussing the weapons program. Firebase Viper was mentioned repeatedly as a necessary sanitization and a reminder of the importance of operational security, but the most damning recording was only 2 weeks old. A meeting between unnamed parties discussing the final cleanup of Firebase Viper survivors. We've got them, Webb breathed. This is enough to... The window exploded. Webb jerked, red spreading across his chest. Becca hit the floor, grabbed the thumb drive as more shots peppered the office. Go! Webb gasped, pressing car keys into her hand. White Toyota, parking lot C, get to... Media. Becca wanted to help him, but Webb was already fading. She low-crawled to the door, sprinted down the hallway as alarms began wailing. Behind her, boots thundered, security responding to the shots, or assassins coming to finish the job. And Webb's Toyota was where he'd said, keys working perfectly. Becca peeled out as military police vehicles converged on the headquarters building. She had minutes before the base locked down. The main gate was already showing increased activity. Becca turned instead toward the back gate, less used, often manned by bored guards. She approached at normal speed, window down, ID ready. N. Morning, Sergeant, she said calmly to the guard. Heading to Madigan for an appointment, the guard barely glanced at her ID. Have a good day, ma'am. And she was out, free, with evidence that could expose a conspiracy worth hundreds of millions. But also alone, hunted, with nowhere safe to go. Her phone rang, the same unknown number. NN, Major Thompson, you've made a serious mistake. I've got everything, Becca said, driving fast but not recklessly. Videos, documents, proof of Firebase Viper, and the murders. Back off, or it all goes public. You think you're the first to try this? Your predecessor, Lieutenant Colonel Harris, had similar ideas. His house burned down with him inside. Tragic accident. His evidence was never found. Mine's already uploaded. Dead man's switch. I don't check in every 12 hours. It goes to every major news outlet. Silence. Then, you're bluffing. Try me. Very well. Let's discuss terms. There's a warehouse in Tacoma, Pier 47, 1 hour. Come alone, bring everything. We can make a deal. Right. So you can kill me quietly. Major, if we wanted you dead, you'd be dead. We're offering you a chance to walk away. Take it. The line went dead. Becca knew it was a trap, but she also knew they were right. If they wanted her dead, a sniper could have taken her out any time. They wanted the evidence first, wanted to know how much she knew and who else might have copies. She had 1 hour to figure out how to survive this. Instead of heading to Tacoma, Becca drove to Seattle. She needed allies, and there was only one person she trusted who might have the resources to help. Colonel Janet Morrison, retired, had been Becca's mentor in the Rangers. Now she ran a private security firm specializing in protecting corporate whistleblowers. If anyone could help navigate this minefield, it was Morrison. Morrison's office was in a nondescript building downtown. Becca entered through the parking garage, avoiding the main entrance. Found Morrison in her office, already alerted by Becca's cryptic text and Ann. "Jesus, Becca, you look like hell." "It's been a rough morning," Becca quickly explained, showed Morrison the evidence, watched her mentor's expression grow darker with each revelation. "Math!" Becca pulled out the thumb drive, held it up. 12 names reduced to statistics. Martinez had 3 kids. Johnson was getting married. Patterson was 2 months from retirement, and they'd all be alive if they'd followed orders instead of playing detective. That's when Becca smiled. "You're right. The math is simple. 1 thumb drive for justice for 12 soldiers. Nain, I'll take that trade. Nain." She tossed the drive to Chen, who caught it reflexively. "But you should know, that's not the only copy," and Chen's face went cold. "Explain." "North, the drive you're holding? It's real, but it's also transmitting. Everything on it is being uploaded right now to servers you can't touch. This conversation? Being streamed live to a dozen platforms. Your confession about Firebase Viper? Already viral." It was a bluff. Morrison's team was good, but the warehouse blocked most signals. But Chen didn't know that Nin kill the feed. Chen barked at her tech specialist, who frantically worked a laptop. "I can't. It's multi-routed, encrypted." "Then kill her." Weapons appeared, but Becca was already moving. She dove behind a container as bullets sparked off metal. Morrison's team responded instantly. Smoke grenades through windows, flashbangs creating chaos. "Move, move, move!" Morrison's voice in her earpiece. Exfil, Route Alpha, Becca ran, muscle memory from 100 combat missions guiding her. Behind her, Chen screamed orders, but her men were confused, blinded by smoke, unsure where threats were coming from. And a figure loomed from the smoke, one of Chen's men. Becca struck without thinking, elbow to throat, knee to groin, his weapon clattering away. She kept moving. The exit was blocked. 2 men, weapons raised. Becca skidded to a stop, trapped, and then the men jerked, fell. Behind them, a figure in tactical gear, Patricia, holding a smoking pistol. "And I told you not to handle this alone." Patricia said, "And how Morrison called me. Said you needed backup. First was a Marine before I was a doctor, remember?" They ran together, reached Morrison's van as Chen's remaining men regrouped. Peeled out as bullets starred the rear window. "Please tell me you really were transmitting," Becca gasped. Morrison grinned. "Every word. It's already on 6 news sites. Chen's finished." Within hours, the story exploded across media. Colonel Chen's confession, the evidence from Kim's files, the video recordings. All of it painting a picture of systematic corruption and murder within the military intelligence community. Chen was arrested trying to flee the country. Her network began unraveling as co-conspirators turned on each other, trying to cut deals. The Ghost Protocol, operational for over a decade, collapsed in days, and no. But Becca knew it wasn't over. Chen had been middle management, implementing orders from above. The real architects were still hidden, still protected by classification stamps and political connections. Morrison's safe house, watching news coverage with Patricia beside her. Her phone, her real phone, rang constantly. Reporters, investigators, even a senator wanting her testimony. "You did it," Patricia said. "You got justice for them. I got accountability for Chen. Justice would bring them back." And Becca, I know, but Kim died for this. Webb died for this. 12 soldiers at Firebase Viper died for this. And Chen was right about one thing. It goes higher. And Morrison entered with a laptop. "You need to see this. Remember Chen mentioning the operation saved thousands? I had my people dig into terrorist attacks prevented in the last 5 years. The data was disturbing. Every major prevention Chen could have referenced had official explanations that didn't require black market weapons deals. The Ghost Protocol hadn't been saving lives. It had been pure profit disguised as patriotism, and so they died for nothing, Becca said quietly. Not even a corrupted greater good. Just money. Not nothing, Morrison corrected. They died exposing this. Their deaths led to Kim's investigation, which led to you, which led to this moment. The system's changing because of them. Norn Becca's phone buzzed. Unknown number, but she answered anyway. And Major Thompson. The voice was different, older, tired. I'm calling to discuss your future. Who is this? General Michael Harrison, chairman of the Joint Chiefs. I've been reviewing the Firebase Viper files, and disturbing doesn't begin to cover it. I need people I can trust to help clean house, people with proven integrity and the courage to face hard truths. I'm offering you reinstatement at full rank and a position with the Inspector General's office. Full autonomy to investigate corruption within the military. I'm retired, sir, medical discharge, which I can overturn with a signature. Major Becca, we failed those 12 soldiers, failed all the others Chen's network killed. Help me ensure we don't fail anyone else. Becca looked at Patricia, who nodded slightly, at Morrison, who smiled. At the news coverage still playing, showing Chen in handcuffs, NN, I'll need a team, she said. People I choose, no interference, done, and protection for the families of everyone. Chen's network targeted, and already in motion. Then yes, sir. I'll take the job. 6 months later, Lieutenant Colonel Rebecca Thompson stood in Arlington National Cemetery. 12 new headstones had been added in a special section, the soldiers of Firebase Viper, finally recognized as heroes who died exposing corruption rather than victims of friendly fire. And Kim was buried nearby, full military honors despite his murder occurring as a civilian. Webb, too, his sacrifice acknowledged at last. Patricia stood beside her, now her wife. They'd married quietly 2 months ago, deciding life was too short and dangerous to wait. Morrison was there too, now consulting with Becca's team, using her security expertise to protect other whistleblowers. Ma'am? A young sergeant approached. We've got a new case. Supply irregularities at Fort Hood. Could be nothing but it could be another Ghost Protocol, Becca finished. Send me the files. We'll look into it. The sergeant saluted and left. Becca turned back to the graves, offering a final salute of her own. We got them, she said quietly. Not all of them, not yet. But we got enough. And we'll keep going, I promise. The wind picked up, rustling through Arlington's perfect rows. Somewhere, Becca thought, 12 soldiers were finally at peace. But her war wasn't over, might never be over. Because corruption was like cancer, you could cut it out, but you had to keep watching, keep fighting, keep standing guard. She'd traded retirement for responsibility, peace for purpose. And despite everything, the danger, the loss, the weight of command, she knew it was the right choice. Some soldiers fought with rifles, others with truth. Both battles mattered. As they left the cemetery, Patricia took her hand. Ready for another fight? Always, Becca said. That's what soldiers do, north-north. The drive back to the Pentagon was quiet, each lost in thought. But Becca's phone was already buzzing with new leads, new conspiracies to uncover, new soldiers to protect. The Forgotten Battalion of Firebase Viper would never be forgotten again. Their sacrifice had meaning now. Purpose, Enine, and Lieutenant Colonel Rebecca Thompson would make sure it stayed that way, Enine one investigation at a time. One corrupt official at a time, one saved life at a time. NN, until the job was done or she couldn't stand anymore. That was her promise, her purpose, her peace.